Oh, hello everyone. Greetings and welcome to tonight's live stream in EV Land. And you're with Tesla Tom, your host tonight, and we are talking about EV chargers and charging DC chargers tonight on Ludicrous Feed Live. So welcome, and welcome to everyone who is watching live tonight as well on the stream, and welcome to everyone who's commented so far, and also watching on the replay as well. So welcome to everyone. And thank you for joining us. We've got a massive show on tonight. And first up, I just want to apologize quickly for the voice. I've been recovering from a mild illness this week, but I am getting better. It's not COVID, it's just something else, but I will try my best not to cough tonight. But to help me with that, I've got a few guests tonight joining us, so let's welcome them to the stream right now. We've got our good friends, Mr. Riz Akhtar and also Mr. Rahul Prasad. Hello, gentlemen. Nice to see you. Let's start with Riz. Hello, Riz. How are you?
Hey, Tom, I'm well. I think I spotted you on The Masked Singer.
I will not be singing tonight, I promise.
Going well.
And of course, hello to Rahul. Of course, the biggest news tonight, Rahul, is the fact that you received something very special tonight. Not in the post, but something else. Let's have a look. This is Rahul's tweet from today. Lots of hashtags, lots of lovely pictures there. What's going on here, Rahul?
Yeah, we just took delivery of our rear-wheel drive Model Y today at Melbourne. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, the car was just sensational. Looked amazing. Drove really, really well. I was just blown away. Even though I had driven the performance model in the US back in March, and going over talking to my partner Angela and saying, we've driven it for 5 weeks. We're not going to be that excited, but we drove it and we were just like, wow, this car is.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you to everybody who reached out on Twitter as well and congratulated us. I think that's one of the other things that really makes it special is people in that Tesla community that just reach out and are really, really happy for you. And likewise, we feel the same whenever anyone's getting a new Tesla car here in this country. I haven't seen a Model Y on the roads in Melbourne as yet, but I'm hoping to see a few more. But yeah, today was just, even though I was trying not to get excited, couldn't help it. I'm like a schoolboy. It's so good.
Oh, please. I attend deliveries, and even though it's not my car, I still get goosebumps. So I completely understand where you're coming from, Rahul. Sounds like you had a good
Right.
experience too in Mulgrave.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. We've had a Model 3 delivery event before, so we were fairly quick. We just walked in,
Yep.
signed in, got the keys, literally, because we had a 6-month-old son with us in the car. We just, within 10 minutes, we were out. If there's any issues with the car, I'll reach out to Tesla with the app,
Yep.
schedule some appointments, and see whether they can rectify that. But from even just my recollection from what the 2019 build was compared to this build, incredible.
Yep. Well, congratulations to
Incredible.
yourself, Rahul, your family, and yeah, welcome again to the Tesla family once again.
Thank you. Thank you. We're overjoyed.
Ah, good. All right. Well, I want to introduce our final guest tonight. Please make welcome Mr. Charles Gregory to the stream. Charles is a long-term EV owner and now Tesla owner, and a also very long-term EV advocate as well. Does a lot for the EV community, and just an overall very nice guy from Tasmania. Welcome to the stream there, Charles.
Thank you, Tom, and it's great to be on here. Love talking about EV chargers, as you know. And I've just come back from a short tour of the mainland, so I've got to experience a few of the other things that we don't have here. But yeah, looking forward to it. And
Okay.
hi, Riz and Rahul as well.
Hey,
Yeah,
Charles.
nice. Well, lovely to have you. That's why we had you tonight, Charles. We know you are one of the charging gurus in this country, so yeah, very, very honoured to have you on tonight. So thank you for joining us. All right, well, without further ado, let's get onto the slides, shall we, gentlemen? So let's put that on. So a big show tonight, like I said. The second biggest news, of course, well, second, third, and fourth biggest news after Rahul's Model Y is coming up in these headlines for charging. I want to go through right now. Actually, no, this is the other one I want to talk about. So this live stream, put this in your diary, 8 p.m. Thursday, the 1st of September, 2022. This is one not to miss, definitely not. you want to be there live because we've got representatives from the New South Wales government talking about this state's electric vehicle strategy. They're here live in the flesh. They'll be talking to you and me and everyone about how they'll be implementing the New South Wales government's policy long term. So one not to miss. And even if you're from other states, this is also one to watch as well. You never know, it might be coming to your state soon as well. A bit of a state of origin, I would like to think, in Australia. So who's got the best EV policy moving forward? That's what I want to see anyway.
Talking to that, I think it's a bit of a race between Western Australia and Queensland, because each of the governments has their plan, and then they seem to announce extra sites every so often. So I think there's a bit of to and fro there.
Yeah, good.
And I think we're all going to win from that, really, once we
Absolutely.
get more sites around.
Definitely. Yep. We want to see some healthy competition in this country for sure. And the other big news tonight is, wait for it, there's no drum roll. There's no drum roll. I should have loaded a drum roll music. Anyway, I'll put the lo-fi on. Just get you guys in the mood. There we go. All right, the other big news tonight I want to share with all of you is breaking news on this channel. You heard it here first, Ludicrous Feed, everyone. I'm selling my Tesla Model S. Yes, electric blue is going, unfortunately. I'm going to miss it terribly. It's making way for another blue car, the blue Model Y that's coming in November, hopefully. But yeah, even see, I'm choking up just thinking about it. 2015 AP1, MCU2, 70D, highway autopilot, 100% range is now 330 kilometers, 0 to 105.4 seconds, free lifetime supercharging, tow hitch included, all offers considered, all offers are on the table. Send me an email. Don't delay. I do want to sell it, so it's not just a giveaway, not a throwaway offer like that. So just, yeah, I'm serious about it. Unfortunately, still a great car. I just need to make way for the Y, unfortunately. So there we go. All right. Any offers, gents? No one wants to buy it.
I think gone.
Gone.
Yeah.
It's old.
Really? Okay.
It's old.
I can trade you for my Leaf, but that's all I've got. Sorry.
We'll talk later.
But,
We'll talk later, Charles. All right. That's good. All right. We'll see next week what happens. I'll share what progress is like. Okay, enough about me. Let's move on. So, some news this week. Talking about Western Australia, big news this week that the WA electric vehicle highway is, the contract is going to jet charge. And there's Tim Washington there in the picture from the Driven. So, when this is completed, it'll be, if I'm not wrong, this will be the world's longest continuous EV charger stretch in the world. Yes?
I think that's what they're saying.
I think they said within a single state, which seems like it's accurate.
Yeah, that is unbelievable. Like I don't even know what length of road what length of highway that would be. But yeah, I mean WA is a pretty big state. That's all I know. But I think Queensland currently holds that record, if I'm not wrong too.
I think they're charging it for, pretty much goes all the way up to Cairns.
Yeah, a little bit past Cairns, maybe.
Yeah.
Not much though.
Yeah. Incredible. And it probably is a DC record. I mean, sure, there's an AC route probably somewhere, but for a DC record, I think it's probably there. Anyway, well, hats off to Jet Charge. Hopefully we'll see that happen soon. I think I read 2024 is when they're hoping for completion. Just trying to find details today on what they were going to install, like how many stalls. I read maybe one DC, one AC at least. Look, that's a start.
Yeah, I've been able to gather a bit of info from the guys at Tokwa. They put out tenders for the types of space and things that they wanted previously. It looks like in the yellow area there, which is Horizon Power, there's going to be, I think it's like one DC charger and one AC charger per site, and the DC will be 50, 75 or 150. Okay. And in the blue area, which is Synergy, that's basically the big on-grid part of WA. Mm-hmm. It looks like they've requested twice as many chargers as what they have sites marked, DC chargers as what they have sites marked, which implies 2 DC chargers per site.
Okay.
And I think some of the news reports said it was ChargeMate, Tritium, and ChemPower. So ChargeMate will be the AC units, presumably. Tritium might be some 50 kilowatt unit roadhouses, which maybe don't have the capacity for a high speed charger. and ChemPower hopefully will be all the sites that have two DC chargers, because they'll have the ability to share capacity, so they'll get the most bang for buck there. So that's all just speculation, but it's good to see them trying different bits of hardware at least. So yeah, it's a good move.
Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah, look, I think 2 is better than 1, I guess, but as you all know, my preference is for 4. 4. Is that too much of an ask? I don't know. I think adoption will pick up pretty quickly in the next 2 years, personally, especially with like all the BYDs coming, or the Model Ys coming, which we'll talk about very soon, of course. Let's move on. So the next bit of news, this was, I think, from a couple of weeks ago. Queensland has announced phase 2, I think. Phase 3, sorry. Phase 3, which is all the inland chargers from the coast. So that's fantastic, really. I mean, I would have thought that probably covers most of the populous areas of the state. I can see there just going out to Mount Isa, which is unbelievable, having a charger out there. I haven't been personally, but I would love to go and see Mount Isa in an EV. Don't know about you, gents.
Definitely, I think quite a few have been there in an EV, but it'd be a lot easier with this network.
Absolutely.
I think there were a small number of additions to the network. I think there are about 6 new ones announced in the last couple of months. Sort of intermediate ones between some of the longer gaps there.
Nice.
So that's in addition to what's on that right-hand map, and then the left-hand one's different again.
Yep.
You're probably going to keep talking about.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a huge gap there between some of them. Trying to see Emerald and is it Barcaldine? I can't quite see my eyes. Barcaldine, sorry, Emerald Barcaldine. Surely that's a huge gap. So yeah, it's not a small state. Jez, thank you, Jez. $5.42, appreciate that. Donating towards a cup of hot Earl Grey tea for Tom with honey and freshly shredded ginger and roasted marshmallows and a box of tissues for the tears. So good. Thank you, Jez. That should nicely cover it. Appreciate it. And a back rub too. Thanks, Gaffer. Brilliant. Feeling the love too.
Yeah, I think the Queensland superhighway going inland is great, because most of our charging infrastructure obviously goes along the coast. This is a great way to for people to actually start going in towards Australia and see parts of Australia that in an EV that we would not have had the opportunity prior. I also love that SA and WA are extending that or creating that highway between the Nullarbor, EV superhighway between Nullarbor. Hopefully in the next 2, 3, 4 years, we could cross the Nullarbor in an EV without any issues, and possibly even look at circumnavigating Australia in an EV.
In an EV.
Very
using DC charging, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That would be so cool. I was also going to say, lost it now. But yeah, no, you're right, Roll. It's great seeing. I was going to say, it's good that the governments of each state is investing in points, like critical points along the map. Hopefully, that will encourage private enterprise to either fill in the gaps or add more stalls in the same town. And that way people don't feel that range or stall anxiety with more chargers. Yep. So this is tweeted by Electric Car Australia. It's also a good YouTube channel, and he said, this is the first DC charger in the Phase 3 rollout of the Uraka Queensland Superhighway at Kingaroy. So there we go, in Kingaroy in Queensland. It's good. I like seeing. I was just going to say variety outside of tritium, but that is a tritium charger, sorry. I was looking at the left picture. That's an AC charger, I presume. The right one's a tritium DC charger. Okay. No
just on the tritium chargers, I think there is later on, Tom and the Ludicrous Feed crew, I'll share something with you about why Queensland is unique in the reliability of their tritium chargers compared to other states and territories. Okay.
A very alluring suggestion there. Thank you, Riz. And you don't want to miss Riz's charts, by the way. He's outdone himself with off the charts this week. So he's got a fantastic dashboard to show it all of us. So stay tuned, everyone. Okay, next slide. Okay, so this is what the ACT put out as well. So this is their charging points moving forward. 77 new charging stations, 154 plugs. Again, probably on average 2 per site, which again is okay. That's a pass mark for me. 4 chargers gets you a distinction for me. So just saying. But 2 is good. 2 is a good start. And all over the ACT too, not just Canberra, which is great. 31, look, I'm sure 31 is where Canberra is. Just looking at the lake there. Probably Lake Burley Griffin in the middle. Coolies. And yeah, so news from the Nrma, they look like they will be starting to charge charging non-members, for use of its EV fast charging network. And I believe, Riz, you've got some more information on the different options for members. They get discounts.
I think we'll touch on that a bit later.
Cool. All right, and
one thing I did want to add about NRMA. I only heard about this very recently, just today. It appears the units at the Wollongong site have gone in. They looked like they were going to be a 50 kilowatt and a 150 or something like that, but I've been told that it's actually a 150 and a 300. So I don't know if anyone's able to check that in the near future and confirm that, but that's definitely way over spec for what they normally do.
Okay.
Which is interesting to see that's the standard they're moving forward with.
Cool.
It's pretty close. Assuming that both connectors on each unit can be used at the same time, it's pretty close to the spec for the New South Wales government grants as well. So I don't know if that's on purpose or not.
All right. Thanks, Charles. We'll see what happens. Peter Cook, one of our regulars, is saying that the ACT chargers will mostly be AC. Okay, that's news to me. Thank you, Peter. All right, and Gaffer's saying 175. I assume Gaffer's referring to Wollongong as well. Okay. All right. Well, I think it's time for Riz's chart. Let's have a look. Yes, there's my placeholder there. So let's take that off, and you guys have to see this. Watch this. So this is Riz's dashboard. If I can make it bigger. Oh, it's bigger. Okay, good. All right, so Riz, do you want to run us through this, and I'll be your hands, and I'll
Okay, cool. So yeah, we collected quite a bit of data on the fast chargers in Australia at the moment, and we've got 787 fast chargers currently installed, and there's a couple more that are coming. I think about 25 odd more that are going to be installed within the next 2 to 3 months. And those charges are spread across 379 sites. On the map itself, Tom, if you hover over, it sort of breaks it down into the number of, charging sites. The total number of charges are 379, and how it's broken up by states and territories. Obviously, New South Wales is sort of leading the way with over 35% of the sites. That's why I guess we'll learn more in a couple of weeks' time from the New South Wales government and their representatives on, what's helped them get to this success, and also what they've got planned. And they've got a lot planned, which is pretty cool. Northern Territory, obviously, last time I checked, they had around 250 EVs in Northern Territory. So they probably will be starting to provide some more incentives, as well as some charging infrastructure as well. Then to the sort of the same chart on the graph is to the left-hand side, which sort of shows today where things are. 131 sites in New South Wales, 76 in Victoria, and Queensland's pretty close to that. WA is doing fairly well as well with their WA highway. South Australia, Tasmania, ACT, all playing their role. In Northern Territory, I guess, if you don't really have that many EVs up there yet, their fast charging network will probably expand over the coming years. And then just the next tab, Tom, the proposed sites. Now, the scaling on this one doesn't seem to be working, but it sort of covers what Tom was going through earlier. if you go onto the proposed sites, Tom, and if you hover over, so New South Wales has about 500 sites planned in the next 5 years. These are ultra rapid fast chargers that they're proposing. Victoria has around 55 at this stage. Most of them are part of the Charging the Regions network. Queensland is around 24 sites as part of that stage or phase 3 of the cash rollout. WA is 49 sites, the ones we touched on earlier. South Australia has a fair few more, 140 sites have been announced. I think RAA will be helping deliver that one. And Tasmania, Charles, you may know a bit more, but from the government's point of view, I think there is, on the electric highway, there's another 20 sites planned.
Yeah, that sounds about right. There are 20 sites which received state government grants and another 10 sites that received the Arena Future Fuels Fund grants.
Right.
They're the similar ones that we see from EV and Ampol in other states.
Yep. Okay, yes, the other 10. So we tried to mainly capture the sites that are announced by, in collaboration with government as such, as part of their strategies, which was sort of covered early on. Then we sort of, to the bottom right, the circular chart that we have shows charging sites by the operator. Tesla, ChargeFox, EV Networks, and Nrma, Jolt. Tesla surprisingly only operates around 12.5% of the sites as of August, with ChargeFox obviously providing bulk of the sites or operating them anyway, which is now owned by Australian Motoring Services, which Nrma and RACV are a part of. If you hover over to the charging stalls, you can then see quite quickly, even though Tesla only operates, 12.5% of the sites, but number of chargers, they sort of are leading the pack in the number of stalls they have around the country, with so many more supercharging sites planned in the next 6 to 12 months as the Tesla fleet itself increases. We saw today for sure it's increased by one. In Mulgrave, there was one vehicle that was handed out to Rahul. So it's growing quickly. And in order for Rahul to have a great experience, they need to make sure the superchargers are everywhere. So they're going to be investing quite heavily into that space as well.
And Riz, I was lucky enough to see some of your data in the back, and you showed me that there's only one site in all of Australia that's got double-digit stalls, and that is the Tesla supercharger site in Macquarie Park in Sydney, which happens to be my closest one. But everyone else is far behind. I mean, Tesla's, there's some 8 sites, 6 sites, but every other provider is 4 at most, right, at this stage?
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. And, that's, as Tom, you've mentioned, 4 is sort of the ideal, the minimum sort of what we need. Yep. It'd be interesting to see how Kempower rolls out in the WA rollout, whether they go for, 8 or 10 dispensers, sort of like what Tesla has in some ways. Or would they go with the Tritium or I guess Hypercharger or ABB type of, I call them fridge box sort of a charger. So that would be quite interesting to see. But things are starting to pick up a bit as we're seeing in this space. One more bit of data that I sort of wanted to touch on, and I think might be relevant to audience and others that are looking at the charging infrastructure and improving it for us EV drivers, is sort of negative and positive sentiment from EV users. And like one of the things, exactly. And what we're seeing is users, when they, EV owners, when they get to a site and some of the chargers that are working well and things are quite good, so there's real positive sentiment when there's a new site. People are very excited. If it gives you fast speed, thanks for the charge. That comes from Nrma, which, looking at some of the feedback that people are putting out there that are using the NRMA network, they're just really happy with it. It's relatively reliable. And if they get a quick charge and it works well, these are the sort of key things that give EV owners, a really positive sentiment and a better charging experience. On the other hand, if you switch that tab to...
Riz, did you get this word map data from PlugShare?
It's a combination. So it's PlugShare, as well as we use crawlers on certain Facebook open pages that also give us an idea of what people are saying. We don't really record anything about people themselves or the demographic. Yep. It's just raw text data that's analyzed through the algorithms we've built, and then it classifies things as to positive or negative sentiment. And we're using it for, to hopefully be able to give some of the companies like NRMA, Ampol, and others a better idea as to what's going to happen and what people are looking for in terms of a positive charging experience to help them improve their network, which hopefully will help all of us.
Great. Good. Well, let's move on to negative, as you said.
There is when we look at EV owners and charging, that some of the things that come across, if the car spots are iced, we know what that's like. People are blocking chargers and parking their Commodores where they shouldn't be. Not saying it's only Commodores, but and if it's a slow charger, generally some of the older tritium V-fill units have errors that come up quite a few times. Hard to reset them, or I don't know how to. Some people have worked it out. Not working. This on the bottom of that, it's not spoken about too often, but broken screens seem to be a common issue. So in terms of, and that's just one of the things that one of our algorithms picked up around broken screens at multiple charging sites, and a lot of them are related to the elephant in the room, tritium. Screens break because of vandalism and all the rest of it, but the charger reliability seems to be a large issue. And I think probably, rightly or wrongly at the moment, there's one manufacturer, maybe because they have the largest amount of chargers on the public charging network outside of Tesla, that have been rolled out, used by EV, ChargeFox, NRMA. It's bound to sort of get bad publicity, and it's generally the older chargers, the V-fill units that were sort of first generation of public chargers that were out there. But yeah, tritium, I think there's a bit of work to be done in earning people's trust and all the rest of it. And I think probably needs a bit more competition in the space as well to make it easier for, I guess, at least EV drivers like most of us to get, a reliable charger, a charging experience. And then it also makes the operators look, a lot better as well. So the operators in the future may need to consider, sort of what Tesla does, has multiple battery suppliers, have multiple charging unit suppliers, and maybe have, 2 or 3 different brands on the same site for people to choose from. But I guess that's one of the recommendations.
Yeah. Riz, honestly, this word map is fantastic. We'll be revisiting this. Yeah, 100%. Big clap for Riz. We'll be revisiting this very frequently, I think, with your word map, because that for me is pretty much, that sums it up. That's user sentiment right there. And you can't make your consumers happy, whatever provider you are, then you've lost the battle. And you can see right here, this pretty much, it just covers what we feel. We've been talking about this for the last year. We want sites that work well. We want lots of new sites. We want quick charge. We don't want sites that are broken, slow, iced. That's not good. And that's part of the reason why I've created my own charging system as well. If you've seen some of my videos, I give them a score, because I think these companies need to be held accountable one way or another. So whether it's, just through natural market forces or whatever, but this word map hopefully will help them in their decision making. We'll see, okay, we're not doing the right thing, or where can we improve? And this is where it's very useful. So yeah, Riz, thank you for this chart. And if you are watching and if you want Riz's help, Car Loop, that's the place to go. Thank you, Riz.
No worries. Thanks.
Very good.
I think it's also quite telling that a lot of the older sites are only one stall, and in that case, since the tritium sites are one stall, you tend to notice a failed tritium unit more often. If Supercharger had one stall down, you wouldn't really notice it.
Yep.
There's only a 1 in 6 chance that you'd run into it, and there's five other places to 5 other stalls to charge. So so we probably notice it more with tritium, but it's good to see that other charge networks like Ampol and ChargeFox are experimenting with different manufacturers now. So that's good to see, and it's also good to see that Australian networks did support tritium in order to support an Australian company. Tritium as a company has expanded internationally. They have factories in other continents, so it's not. I don't think Australian networks have a risk of ignoring the Aussie startup by not buying tritium anymore. They can stand on their own 2 feet now.
And just very good point there, Charles. That's what I wanted to touch on when we looked at the Eureka Queensland Electric Superhighway screenshot earlier. It seems in Queensland, which is where tritium's based in Macquarie, near Port of Brisbane there, the Queensland rollout and the charges there's a lot less complaints from up there around broken charges and other things. Maybe could be because of the procurement practices that Eureka, which is a government, I believe it's a government-backed energy utilities company up there that is sort of taken this charging network rollout, sort of grabbed it by the hands and made sure that it happens properly. And maybe that's why they have local supply, spare parts, and could also be that maybe Queensland government, I'm not sure if this is true, but Queensland government helped tritium get on its feet early in its years, and as part of that they sort of want to at least make sure that their network in their home state is very reliable. Could be multiple different reasons, but yeah, I think Queensland seems to be doing really, really well, and that Queensland electric superhighway network is reliable. They seem to have thought of it well. I guess we'll just we hope that those lessons can be shared with the rest of the country, and that we can all have better charging experiences.
Yeah, thank you, Riz. Thank you, Charles and Rahul, for your comments. And thank you to everyone in the chat as well. I can see a lot of claps for Riz there. Thank you again, Riz. Everyone's happy with your work there. Great work. And Fact Sensei is saying Riz for the Emperor of Australia, New Zealand, and Tasmania. Wow, big call. Boats open
I think
soon.
Charles takes Tasmania. I'll take Australia and New Zealand.
Here's an interesting comment from Tony in Canberra. I'm interested to see what you guys think too, both live guests and also in the audience. Is it time to remove the CharDemo plug from new chargers? Ooh, time to stir the pot there. What do we think, gents?
I think there's been a bit of commentary about this with the new Ampol units. As part of the Future Fuels Fund, the requirement was to be able to charge 2 cars at 50 kilowatts or higher. So EV did that with 2 tritium units, and Ampol's doing it with a single 150 kilowatt unit with 2 connectors, one of which is CHAdeMO. So some people might say, well, CHAdeMO doesn't count. It's only really one car. There's only 10% of cars are CHAdeMO. And I tend to use the metaphor of the EV road tax. It's like, yeah, eventually we'll get rid of it, as in eventually we'll have a road tax, eventually we'll get rid of CHAdeMO, but now's not the time. It's a bit early. There are still plenty of people who've just bought Leafs in the last couple of years, for example. They would want to be, we should support them. A lot of second-hand cars, as in, older model Leafs are still around. Yeah. And being the cheapest of the EVs around, sites that are supported by government grants should really support, not just people who can afford $40,000, $50,000 EVs, but also those buying the $20,000, $30,000 EVs as well. So eventually I think we'll get rid of CHAdeMO. As sites expand, I think we'll see the expansion units will only be CCS because which plugs are most used there.
Yep. No, that's a fair call. I've got a solution. 10 stalls, 10% are CHAdeMO, so 1 stall for CHAdeMO, 9 for CCS2. There you go. Done.
Well, why don't we have both?
Oh, why not? Yeah, no, you're right. Good point there, Charles. Yeah, government funded. Yeah, we still got to support the Leafs. And, EVs do last a long time. Not going away. Nissans will be around, Nissan Leafs, so we do need to support them. That's only fair. Here's some news here. Ampol Northmead in New South Wales has an ABB 150 kilowatts. So I think that's already in operation, I believe. I heard today. So, which brings us to a good segue, I think. I'll just remove this and put this back on. So what I do want to chat about is stuff like this. So, this is from The Driven. Tritium signs major new deal to supply EV fast chargers to BP. And then, of course, my video from a few weeks ago when I tested the Ampol Amp Charge, the first one in Australia at Alexandria. Shameless plug for my video. But, this is something I like to bring up now, actually, is do we have, I'll talk about that in a sec, but how do we feel about oil and gas companies coming in and installing EV chargers? What's the go there? Is it cool? Is it okay? I know they're still supplying oil and gas. Some might call it quote unquote greenwashing, whatever you want to call it. But is it okay?
Yeah,
Are we cool with it?
I've heard people. Yeah, I've heard people call it greenwashing, but I think greenwashing is when you talk yourself up but then don't actually do anything. Whereas right now they're actually, they're putting the gear in the ground and people can use it. So I wouldn't call it greenwashing. People might prefer to not use a charger at a petrol station, but there's plenty of options, so they can do that if they want to.
Cool.
But I think they're going to have to move with it, and I guess some of them started a bit earlier than others.
Yeah.
But either way, the old service station as we know it isn't going to last, so they have to do it at some point.
Oh, good point, Charles. Raoul, any comments on that? What do you think?
Yeah, good point, Tom. Yeah, look, I think it's obviously slow and steady here in Australia in terms of some of the oil and gas companies changing across. But I think having an EV and an electric charger there on site is obviously, great advertisement for transitioning to the future fuels technology, and also showing people, I guess, hard evidence that you're filling up your car with lower grade fuel, which is going to cost you maybe $50 to $100. I'll just pay $10. You do the math there, you know what I mean? There's so many opportunities and conversations with people and transitioning them to electric cars. Yeah.
Yep.
So net positive for me, definitely.
Cool. Thanks, Raoul. Riz, thoughts?
I think it was, as you know, I was in Sydney a couple of weeks ago, and I did go to the Amp Charge site in Alexandria and had a look at their setup. Small site, but what they've been able to do, I think, is kudos to them. Some of the things I think Charles touched on, and Rahul as well, I fully agree with that. If someone's charging, which is what happened, I had the Polestar up there, and the amount of people that came up and spoke to me that, oh, such a nice car, what is it? How long does it take to charge? All of those myths and other things that, people have. People can ask real EV owners those questions. And I guess it just cements the thing that it's not that this battery is going to die in 2 years' time and these cars will be worthless or whatever. It's actually the other way around. The petrol and diesel cars will not be worth as much as they are today. And as they said, you look at sort of the fuel prices at the moment, between $70 to $100 to fill up a tank. That's a cheap, tank of fuel. Versus, I guess even the Model 3 Performance there, even if you sort of topped it up at 60 cents a kilowatt hour, that's $25, for half a battery pack, right? Which is still pretty good value. And you're doing it from a relatively clean source of energy compared to the transportation element of getting the fuel there and all the rest of it. So I think it's a positive thing. It's just they've learned as well. Like Ampol, I've seen some sites with those old EV partnerships with the 350 kilowatt units. that they have. There's a couple in Melbourne. They weren't very well thought out. You sort of feel like a second-class citizen when you're there. The person inside doesn't want to talk to you. The signage is not very clear. Access, all of that stuff. At this Alexandria site, at AmpCharge, it seems like they've learned a lot from that initial partnership. And now what they're rolling out, they know the charger size. The 150 kilowatt is ideal for this sort of stuff. It's a clean, there's places to sit out there. It's all undercover, just under where that Metro Go sign is. You can see your car. It's easy, clean, just a good spot. And they've really thought of it for such a small site. And I think that will help all of us transition. Yes, it's petrol and diesel. They're still selling that. That's because there's a need for it. But at the same time, they are thinking of the future of their businesses, but also for, offering us a service. So the more, the merrier, I say.
Oh, great points, Riz. And thank you, Charles. Great points as well. Yeah, I want to reiterate that because, you've all seen, a lot of you have seen my video and you've seen my thoughts on it. But this particular site, this obviously is probably their flagship now because it's front and center, or very close to front and center of the petrol station. You cannot help but walk past this charging site, even if you're buying petrol and diesel. Even the one in Brisbane, and I think I've seen the one in Northmead in New South Wales, it's not quite in the center of the shop, so you don't necessarily have to pass it on the way. And this one, you've got to pass it. So this one really sticks in your mind as as an ICE car driver, and you cannot help but think, is this the future? Even if you don't agree with it, you can see it's coming. So I'm all for it. I think it's great. More charges, the better. I also agree with Charles. I don't think this is greenwashing, to be honest. Greenwashing is when you appear to be masking something, but they're clearly doing something here, Ampol. So, and they promised 120 sites, so we shall see what happens very soon. But yeah, I think looking back at my charging scores, some of the places that get the highest scores are actually at petrol stations, believe it or not, because the facilities are already there, as you guys have pointed out. It's a safe spot to sit, buy stuff, toilets are all there. I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I noticed that Peter and Gaffer in the comments have said similar things.
Yeah.
But on your flagship comment, I think this one might be overtaken by Altona North in Melbourne. When it opens up, they've got 2 ABB units, 4 stalls.
Competition. Okay.
State of origin.
And
Bring it on.
Bring it on. That's it. I don't mind.
And they're sort of on the corner of the intersection, so they're very visible. And each of the units has a shelter built over it as well. So
nice.
It's sort of
nice.
gone above and beyond on that one.
I'm hearing next week as well. Okay,
that'd be good.
Heard it here first. Yeah. I can't say who said that.
And someone also found a council plan for one of the Ampol sites in Gosford, I think it was.
Yeah.
West Gosford. And that one is very slightly outside of what they got grants for. So it could be that they're already making a move on the sites, not just the 120 that they got the arena grants for, but making a move on the rest of their locations. So watch this space, I guess.
Nice. I might just go through some of the comments before we move on, because they are very interesting. So Gaffer says Nrma needs an app to handle their charges. I hope they are easy tap and go. Maybe their app could be RFID. Yep, so we'll see what happens. I think they are going to be charging non-members soon, so watch this space. Yep, more on apps, correct. Got Carl saying the more charges, the merrier. Cameron saying if the location and amenities are good, why not? Peter saying I'm happy to siege some charges at servos. Excellent. Yep, Gaffer's agreeing. Charges at petrol stations for the benefit of the store dunny, lights, etc. Good. Yep, also easy to find. Thank you. Yes, Tony mentioned they've got large amounts of real estate, so help accelerate rollout. That's a very good point. It's already there. The land is there. One against is I don't think it'll last, to be honest, because destination charges need more amenities than just convenience stores and bathrooms. It needs a restaurant or fast food at least. Okay, well, I think this is different here. You're talking about destination charges. I think Ampol's rolling out DC charges, if I'm not wrong, only. So, but yeah, you're right. Destination charges probably should be elsewhere, I think, for longer stays. Correct. Yep, Terrence saying no issues. Good. helping to promote EVs. Excellent. Yeah, and also having someone to reset or act on the fault. Yeah, having someone there is actually really useful. Having that help, that scores big points for me.
I think the training of the staff members, I know the previous EV operated sites that Ampol has, the staff members knew nothing about the chargers, who to call, what to do. You ring there, you ring EV networks, and someone very locally downtown Manila picks up and tries to help you out. But I think with this one, if the training is provided to the attendants that are there, or at least they know who to call, then that would be helpful. You want to talk to someone when something isn't working. You just don't want to feel like you're stranded and nobody there really knows what to do. And yeah, I think this would be a good way that they're learning as well, and hopefully they've learned from their previous experiences.
Yep. No, well said. Indeed. Well, let's whisk through the rest of the news today. If no one else has anything to say on the charges at petrol stations, but you can still leave your comments, of course, in the live chat there. All right, and of course, gents from Melbourne, Riz and Rahul, looking forward to seeing you Altona North photos too. I'm sure you guys will get out there, and particularly Rahul with his new Y. Love to see that photo.
Yeah, I think Riz and I are going to have a coffee there once the charges are open.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Speaking of which, this week I saw a 9 News article on the Ampol charging, and I think one guy said he had time to go to the gym, or 20 minutes of charging gives him time to go to the gym real quick before he comes back to his car. I thought, okay, that's commitment. Never heard that before.
Just on that one, to the left-hand side of that photo, I'm pretty sure there's an Anytime Fitness.
Oh, yes, there is.
There is. And on the right-hand side across the road is a McDonald's, so you can choose either way. You could do both. You could go to the gym and then go to Macca's and bulk up on double quarter pounders.
Or at the start of the week, you do your Macca's. At the end of the week, you do your gym.
Yeah.
Done. Good experience.
Rick, you and I are just going to Macca's. We're not going to fitness, mate.
Sorry, Charles, what'd you say?
Oh, it's like when you have the little voices on each shoulder. You know, one of them saying go to Macca's, one of them saying go to the gym.
Not today, no.
That's
All right, so so EV Networks has now joined forces with Pepper Money and offering complimentary EV charging for people who finance their cars or EVs with Pepper Money. So a bit of good news there for people with finance through Pepper Money. Free charging for you coming up for 12 months. All right, one quick chart with Riz, off the chart with Riz. So this is the Polestar values.
Yeah, so we had a quick look earlier this week as to what's going on since Polestar, and we know Model 3s prices are skyrocketing, but so are Polestars. There's not many up for sale, but they're fetching over 14% of what someone would spend on a new single motor rear-wheel drive car.
Wow.
It's that, yeah, they're sort of up there, and I think it'll stay up there because Polestar can't get enough cars into the country. The demand far exceeds supply. So yeah, the prices will sort of stay high. So it's not just Model 3s. Polestars are very popular as well.
Oh, they are good cars too. So interesting to see not just Teslas, it's across the board. Thank you, Riz.
I think he's left us.
what's happened? We've lost Tom.
Oh, I think.
This is the new channel.
Yeah, I think Mars Singer is back on. So
I'm back. Apologies.
He's back.
I pressed the wrong button. That's what illness.
Almost a hostile takeover.
That's what illness can do to you. All right, put my slides back on. Apologies, everyone. Okay.
It's Jimmy Barnes, I tell you.
All right, where was I? We'll talk about Polestar, won't we? Polestar.
Speaking of Polestar, there's a Hertz branded Polestar spotted on the road in Tassie.
Oh,
Ooh,
very good.
So, don't know if you want to check it out, Riz.
I might have to.
Nice. All right, so let's talk about upcoming expos. Yes, tomorrow's a big one coming up, an invitational only. And because we're all still here, we're not going. Maybe next time. Um, so there's a national EV summit hosted by this very good gentleman, Mike Cannon-Brooks, who he has sponsored through his new company, Boundless, with his wife. And they will be looking at electric vehicle uptake in Australia. So I think some big names are going. Robin Denholm, head of Tesla, CEO of Tesla, I should say. Who else? Got the Prime Minister. You've got Chris Bowen. Some other big names going. So should be good. Looking forward to hearing what comes out of it. Hopefully something good.
Tom, quickly on that note, do you have any information on this, whether there is a live stream or the information coming out of it being shared with the public at some appropriate time? Or Riz, if you've got any comments on that?
Yeah, I think Gaffer's asking the same. Love to see webcast, yeah.
You'd like to think with Cannon-Brooks sort of going into it and being the co-founder of Atlassian, large tech company, you'd like to think there would be webcasting or doing something, because they're used to holding Atlassian summits and other things globally. They do that every year for all developers and others working in and outside of Atlassian. So you'd like to think that this would be part of it, or maybe this is the first one and they just want to gauge what things are like. Yeah, I'm sure we'll find out a bit more.
Yep. I think if Mike Cannon-Brooks is running it, I think it's in good hands. So we'll see what happens indeed. All right, a bit of Charger eye candy just to finish off the night. Here we go. This one from Eden Spencer on LinkedIn. It's a good-looking Charger there in front of Starbucks. What car is that? Cupra?
I think it's the Volvo.
No?
Is it the C40?
Oh, could be. Could be.
Volvo C40, maybe?
I'm getting vibes about maybe it's a Nissan Aria, but I might be wrong. I don't think it's in the US.
Let's zoom in.
Not sure.
It says Volvo. I've got it here.
Oh, it's not boxy enough. What's going on?
Yeah. I've got the benefit of my zoom tool here. But yeah, it's a Volvo. I can't read what C it is, unfortunately. C something.
I think the chat's saying C40.
40. Okay. C40. Thank you, everyone. Love the chat. It's so good. All right. We've got Tesla news. All right. So, Gigafactory Shanghai, 1 million car. So now we're up to 3 million Teslas built. 1 million from Shanghai. Unbelievable. Well done, Elon and team. Good work.
And Tom, I think somebody just quickly on that photo also pointed out on Twitter that very closely resembles a map of Australia.
Oh, it does too.
Where the people are positioned.
Wow. Now I can't unsee it now. That's cool. Could that be a sign of things to come?
I agree.
Nice. Oh, they'll be taking a lithium anyway. Nickel.
They want friendship with Australia.
That's it.
Yeah, I think we're expecting to hear an announcement of a new factory location by the end of the year, but all speculation is saying in Canada. So
Canada.
we'll have to wait and see.
Interesting.
But eventually, I'm sure they'll have another one in Asia Pacific at some point.
I heard Indonesia last year. That's still on the cards, I wonder.
They're looking to get nickel from Indonesia, so that might
Great.
or not.
Cool. There you go.
I think we sent Rahul up there recently to find out. I wonder if he did.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I was having too much of a good time to actually go to some work. Sorry, Jen.
That's his cover anyway. We'll stick with that.
We know Bali is famous as being the industrial center of Indonesia. That's what's
nice.
best known for.
Nice. All right, moving on. So, breaking: Tesla has turned off ordering for long-range Model 3 in US and Canada. Is that a sign of things to come for Model Y here in Australia?
Actually, Tom, I saw something today from Sawyer Merritt on Twitter saying that Giga Shanghai had reduced the lead time for delivery for all models coming out of Giga Shanghai by about 50%. in terms of the delivery time frame.
Cool.
I will try and find that tweet and send it to you. You can share it with the audience
nice.
at some stage.
Well, that's good news. There's some people waiting for a long time now for Model 3s, so it'll be news to their ears. Okay, so this is really exciting. So this was shared to me by someone anonymous. I can't name who this is, but this photo is from the Tesla office in Auckland, New Zealand. I don't think it's a public supercharger. I think it's in the Tesla offices. So this is a Tesla Model S Plaid in black. We know New Zealand is a testing ground for Tesla. So here's some pics I want to share with you. And they were happy for me to share this, by the way. Just keep them anonymous. So there we go. Just for you guys to ogle over. And there's the yoke. There we are. Hopefully that's coming to Australia.
Can't wait. I think Nash will be happy. He likes the
yoke.
What's the word?
Yoke.
I've forgotten the word. The yoke.
It's no yoke.
That's right. He's got the mod for his Model 3, and I reckon he'll
love it.
He'll want the Model S.
I'm pretty sure he's got 5 on order, hasn't he?
Well, speaking of Nash, why doesn't he go out to Wollongong and check out what that charger is all about? The NRMA one.
Ah. I'll have to hit him up tomorrow.
Nash from the Gong, and very cool. I love the Model S.
Yeah, and Gaff is from the Gong too. I'm sure you won't mind me saying. I'm sure Gaff will keep us informed. There you go. So that is some secret breaking photos from Tesla New Zealand. Tesla office in Auckland, New Zealand. It's not from Tesla.
From this Plaid model would suit the new Batman, Robert Pattinson, because he's obviously very emo. So yeah, modern vehicle for the new emo Batman.
That's it. Yeah, or the Sandman. Nice.
I think that there's a comment from Greg saying it's left-hand drive, so I'm not sure that will come here, but I presume that it's in New Zealand for testing. Usually they do winter testing down here.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one won't be going 21, but yeah.
Yep. Hopefully we'll see the orders reopen again. Or no, they're not open, are they? We can't order an S, can we, at the moment? No, didn't think so. Okay, so here is something interesting I want to share with you. This is one of my comments for this week. Another trick for your... you know how sometimes when you go to a slower charger like a Jolt or a 50 kilowatt tritium charger, and sometimes Model 3 will divert some of the energy to the battery to try and warm it up. This person is saying turn on track mode if you've got a performance Model 3 before you plug in, and it won't divert the heat away. You'll get the full charge straight away. And I haven't actually verified this yet, so I will go out and try this sometime, but feel free to go out and try it for yourself too. So that's a nice little workaround, that slower charge. Thank you for that, Vic Pitta. Alright, some BYD news, just a quick whip around. So now EV Direct have changed their name to bydautomotive.com.au. That's breaking news from today. I got the email. So they'll no longer be EV Direct. You can buy your cars through bydautomotive.com.au very soon. I think it's a good thing because now you know what exactly you're getting at BYD. EV Direct's a bit, not sure what that is, but yeah, BYD Automotive is actually a good name. I quite like it. So well done, guys. And speaking of BYD, looks like the cars are here. Anyone watching here who's a BYD potential owner, your cars are in the country, and they posted that on socials this week. And here is a public Facebook page called BYD Electric Vehicle Owners, and this person casually walking past the BYD Darlinghurst showroom and spotted these cars. So,
awesome.
They are in the country. They're in Sydney, and I have on good authority it's going to be delivered next week. Next week, I think I'm hearing, so we shall see. I'll try and get out there if I can to an early delivery. Exciting times. We need more chargers, everyone. We need more chargers. More cars, more chargers. Yep. It's that simple. All right, other news, quick whip around. So Polestar 02 is now going to be called Polestar 6 Roadster, confirmed to Australia. That is a sexy looking car. I quite like that, actually. So
very cool.
Very nice. Now this was quite controversial. I'm not sure if this is. I think this was last week in the news. Fairfax Media revealed car industry's secret emissions plan would slow electric vehicle uptake. Essentially, the car industry wants to self-regulate their own emissions, which we know how well that works. I don't think it will. It reminds me of the tobacco industry trying to do the same back in the 1990s. It's just not going to work. So that's hopefully we can get some proper emission fuel standards soon. This is big news too. BlackRock spending $1 billion on batteries in Australia. It's very good news, actually. The overseas investment is coming. Good to see. And this from Xpeng in China, one of the car makers there, revealing a 480 kilowatt supercharger. Wow, that's quick. I mean, given that the fastest I've seen here in Australia is 350, 480. Oh, you know.
Yeah, once you get past 200 or 250, what's the practical impact to your trip? I think is the question. It's a grid connection that's has to be twice as big, cutting it down from 20 minutes to 15 minutes or something like that. So
yeah,
be interesting to see what everyone settles on.
Well, I heard that ever since Xpeng dropped this 480 kilowatt charger, they've had to cut power to CATL's battery plant to feed this charger so that it can charge the Xpeng G9, which is the only car that is able to charge, get 200 kilometers of range in 5 minutes.
Wow.
And they showcased that at their launch event on August the 14th, I think it was. Where I think it's cool that they can actually do that, and Tesla, we're going to be getting the V4 superchargers soon as well. How healthy it is for the batteries, I'm not entirely sure to be charged that quickly. Do we really need it to be charged that quickly? But yeah, it's a good development. You never know.
Yep. And obviously the question is fire risk as well. Hopefully it's safe too, if it's going to charge that quick.
We'll check in with Emma.
Yeah, we'll check with Emma for sure. EV fire safe. I
noticed there's a comment. It'll get to a stage where charging will take as long to fill the car with fuel. I'm thinking, well, possibly, but once it gets to a certain point, it's sort of faster to just charge, because when you're buying fuel, you're going to the fuel pump, standing there for 5 minutes, going in to pay, moving the car afterwards. Whereas at some point, 15-minute charging is that's sort of the boundary where if it's less than 15 minutes, you're standing with the car waiting while it charges.
Yeah.
So you're not off doing other things like you normally do when you charge.
Yep.
Interesting to see, all these people who say I want 5-minute charging. It'd be interesting to see what the actual practical result of 5-minute charging is as far as how long you stop for.
That's very true. I must say I have done a road trip with another family in a nice car, and by the time we plugged in and sat inside for a meal, we were already eating and they were still paying at the counter. Just saying. So it can be done. Yeah, it's a good point though, Charles. You still got to pay, whereas with charging, it's straight into your account, hopefully, or from your account, I should say. And finally, this is quite a good graphic from fueleconomy.gov. Just to reiterate what we all know, but for those new to EVs, 11% of energy is lost in an EV. That's all, according to this slide, from 100% of original fuel. Sure, you get some losses from the drivetrain, from powertrain, cooling, steering, but 22% of the energy lost is recaptured from brakes and back to the battery. So there you go. That's quite a good graphic there. So another reason to drive EV. Indeed. All right, well, that might do it for tonight, gents. What do you think?
Very good.
Yeah. I might whip around and give you guys some final thoughts. Charles?
Oh, you put me on the spot. That's it. No, it's good to see the change in attitude at the EV Expo, which has flown on to DC chargers and so on, from state governments and local governments and things like that. There's a lot of sort of energy in the room, literally and figuratively, to there's a lot of impetus from state governments and so on to install, install chargers, promote charging networks, and so on.
Yep. Thanks,
We're
John.
going to see a lot of activity in the next year or two.
Indeed.
It'll be good.
Rahul?
I think from my side, I wanted to touch on charging infrastructure. Obviously, that's a massive need, knowing that EV adoption in the next 5 years is going to ramp up. And I think it all comes down to each one of us being proactive. So some practical tips that I would, and I have done this myself, is reach out to your local councillors, reach out to your local MPs. If you go to a charging site and it's not working, reach out to the charging provider, whether it's EV, charge point, charge ports, Twitter, email, whatever. If you're in an apartment building block, I think Tom, Ludicrous Feed, Tom, you've got a great episode that I watched recently with Brett, who installed his own charger in an apartment building block. You go to your starter management and ask them to put EV chargers in there. And then obviously there's talk of streetlight charging, perhaps curbside charging. As long as we are proactive, and even to the motoring bodies, to Nrma, RAA, RSQ, and RSCB, putting the pressure on them, we can definitely make sure that it's a seamless experience for people moving forward.
Cool. Thanks, Rahul. Great words. And finally, Riz?
Charging infrastructure is so important. I believe that Tesla's going to deliver more cars in these 6 months, the second 6 months of this year, than all of the EVs sold in 2021. So between July and December, they will deliver close to 17,000 EVs into Australia. That's just Tesla alone. BYD, if they can get 2,000-3,000 between now and the end of the year, that would be great as well. And MG, word is that the ZS EV is around the corner and it's heading. The dealer demos will be at the dealers in the next 2 weeks. So there's a lot of affordable EVs coming. The appetite's there. We just need charging to work. For those of you that haven't seen the road trip video that Tom and I did when we went from Sydney to Canberra and back, there's some lessons in there around charging and what that's going to happen into the sort of near future. So yeah, the more word we can put out there, the better it is. I think it's going to be only a good thing that we let the operators know what we want.
Yeah, thank you, Riz. And look, I'll say something too. I mean, I've been doing this this is my 4th year doing this Ludicrous Feed YouTube since 2018. And I'm excited to see the tide finally shifting. I can feel the energy in the air, so to speak. Like there's more happening on the ground, like more chargers coming in, more funding. People are starting to get excited about EVs. Sure, there's still some naysayers, but I think the tide is slowly but surely going in the right direction. More chargers are coming and more cars are coming. So I think it's great. I think our kids have a brighter future. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reviewing more chargers, whoever the provider is, and we'll always be there to review them and make sure they work, basically. But no, it's good. It's good. Very exciting, and having you guys, our guests, and also our people in the live chat too, along for the ride is fantastic. It's
Just one last thing, Tom. I forgot to mention, Rob's asked around NRMA member costs. So I forgot to mention that earlier. So I've got it here. NRMA pricing for future charging. Charging would be free initially, eventually free access for EV Power members, 50% discount for EV Road Tripper members, 20% discount for EV Essentials members, and full cost for everyone else. That's just the blurb that I found so far. So I guess there'll be a couple of tiers. I'm not sure how the pricing itself would work for those memberships, but those in New South Wales are, I think if you're an NRMA member, you'll find out a bit more. I know when we were charging on our trip, because it was ChargeFox, they've got some partnership with RACV, or now RACV and Nrma owns them. So we were getting 20% off discount anyway, by just me having my RACV member in the member number in the ChargeFox app. So Nrma will be offering similar discounts, and there's other membership tiers, which is awesome for EV users.
Yep. Oh, that's fantastic. All right, gents. Well, I just want to thank you all again. I want to thank Charles for being our guest tonight. Thank you, Charles.
Oh, there we go. So thank you for having me on, Tom, and thanks, Riz and Rahul. And
Welcome,
to all the
Charles.
viewers.
And of course, thank you, Rahul. Congratulations on your Y once again.
Yeah,
He's
thank
happy.
you. Excited. I might sleep in there tonight.
Who can blame you? Who can blame you? And of course, thank you to Riz, as always, for his charts and his excellent dashboard from Carloop. Thank you, Riz.
Thanks, Tom. Congrats, Rahul. Good to see you, Charles. And anyone that's wanting to purchase a well looked after Model S, only driven on quiet Sunday afternoons, can contact me directly. I'm sort of going to be charging a fee for sale as part of that. So we've got to make sure that Blue Machine sells for a good price. So reach out to myself or Tom anytime.
That's right. I've only driven in the left lane. Very good driver. Well looked after. Thank you, Riz. All right, gents, well, have a good night. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight as well. And as always, happy charging, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Good night, guys.